Put on your seatbelts. We got the keys to the spaceship. It's time to go for a ride. Stay tuned, stay big.
It's this new thing for people, and they're sometimes afraid of new things that they don't understand.
I'm assuming you enjoy rapping with people like this.
I love this. This is exactly why I live life.
Welcome to the BAKERCAST.
Sometimes I feel like I'm channeling energy, and what I produce are the keys to the spaceship.
Aloha, guys. Good to see you out here on the floor, on the streets, doing the grind, getting to witness the function of the whole industry here.
I want to tell you, I believe the aliens came down many years ago and infected some monkeys and made us all. We all came from different places, and because of that, different things might get us high.
Jason Harris here is the 7th apprentice of Bob Snodgrass, and Bob Snodgrass says,
Sometimes I feel like I'm channeling energy, and what I produce are the keys to the spaceship.
Yeah, the pipe that you make is a key to the spaceship for somebody to get into. So think about it like this, bro. It's a tool to get high. So when you smoke through this thing, you get inspired. It changes your head work. And so I help develop that piece that you got high with, so I have a connection to you somehow. So that's that. I love it. I love it.
This is the BAKERCAST. I'm Adam Stellar. Stay tuned. Stay baked. Make sure to hear our past content on JeromeBaker.shop. And try the new Jerome Baker Cannabis today. LBS Distribution, re-upping California. LBS Distribution was founded in 2017 by a group of cannabis entrepreneurs with the goal of creating an efficient supply chain of legal cannabis throughout California. Located in West Sacramento, in the heart of Northern California. The mission is to connect California's licensed cannabis retailers with the finest cultivators, artisans, and manufacturers that have made the state renowned for high-quality cannabis. From the redwoods forests of Humboldt to the beaches of San Diego, and everything in between. LBS Distribution is your one-stop shop, bringing you high-quality cannabis products and reliable service for your dispensary needs. This is the BAKERCAST, the official Jerome Baker podcast. Merida Capital Holdings is a private equity firm targeting fundamental growth drivers underpinning the rapid development of the cannabis industry. Our investment emphasis focuses on the cultivation technologies, products, and services associated with the evolution of cannabis as an agriculture product, a natural plant-based medicine, and constitute in pharmaceutical formulations and recreational consumer product. See, we seek to invest in companies that successfully transition from startup to revenue-generating growth companies. We work to further accelerate proven operating models and supercharge the growth of their commercial pipeline. By identifying essential providers with strong management teams, we anticipate where enterprise-level or large industrial providers in non-related fields will look to find growth in their core businesses through acquisition or investment. Merida Capital Holdings. Make sure to check them out. MeridiaCapitalHoldings.net. This is the BAKERCAST. I'm Adam Stellar. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned. Stay baked.
Good morning. First bong here today, of course, sour diesel.
We're hitting people on so many levels.
Oh, that's classic, bro.
We meet up and we're like, hey, man, smoke out of my Jerome Baker. But this is Jerome Baker, man. This is the guy that started it all.
Jordan Schefter and Jason Harris, from a dorm room to the Deadlot with the Grateful Dead.
From that to here to the BAKERCAST, towards all the listeners, yeah, man, like right in front of us. Yeah, of course, the man, Jason Harris.
If you see Jerome Baker, know that's made with love.
You know, I'm honored to say that I did stay in Denver, Colorado long enough to be able to vote for the decriminalization of psilocybin mushrooms. And just as we used the legislative process of, you know, getting issues on the ballots to legalize cannabis, we can use that exact same process to legalize psilocybin and other drugs just by asking the people how they think this country should be run.
Tell me about the vision when we first had the conversation in Denver, Colorado about the word BAKERCAST. What was your thought about that? Because you are a big visionary in this process.
mean, I thought it was a cool idea. That's why I took that jump, and we made that trip out to Vegas for Champs Trade Show back in February.
Yes, this is the BAKERCAST, the official Jerome Baker podcast on JeromeBaker.com.
Please keep out of reach of children and for use by adults 21 years of age and older.
Another episode of the BAKERCAST. Brought to you by the BAKERCAST, Las Vegas Dream Factory, 721 South 1st Street in the heart of the Arts District. We're going to kick off this episode with a little taste of Terpy Tuesday. Of course, shout out to OG Surge, Silver Sage Wellness, Remedy Cultivation, own your remedy, remedy yourself. And what we have is the second, as promised, AJ Sour Diesel interview. We got two of them. We wanted to get the real history on this strain, put you in the Deadlot time machine, go back in time and talk to the folks that were actually there, right? AJ Sour Diesel met Jerome Baker on the Grateful Deadlot.
Let's do this, baby. And so you guys are the front line of this weed thing.
But don't forget, we have interviewed from the first apprentice, besides Bob's son, but the very first apprentice, folks could say, to Bob Snodgrass, with Hugh Glass. Ladies and gentlemen, hands down, if you don't know Hugh Glass, we're about to school you on one of the best glass blowers of all time. The very first interview we got with Jason Harris with Jerome Baker, he talks about when he was in Eugene and he was just painting a picture of the scene there, and he, explained about a young Hugh Glass over there with Bob Snodgrass, and now to see progress that they both made and all the other apprentices. To hear the story about, how Cam and Bob created the first bubbler, and stumbled upon color fuming. I mean, these are things in the glass game that are revolutionary, truly. So, we want to check in with Hugh Glass and get the history and story of Hugh Glass, right? And it's a great interview. You do not want to miss that. And of course, because we gave you the AJ Sour Diesel interview, we got some Sour Diesel sauce from Silver Sage Wellness, Remedy Cultivation from Terpy Tuesday that we did a product review on here on the show. And we wanted to share that with you as well. Make sure to head on over to Silver Sage Wellness. That's right. Dumb BAKERCAST sent you.
ErrlHillExtracts.com. Small batch, artisan crafted, live resin from Humboldt County, California. That's right, ErrlHillExtracts.com. Now offering white label sauce, shatter, and or fresh frozen for brands, retailers, and wholesalers. You are listening to the BAKERCAST.
What a blessing it is, I saw you go up and down, Now you're doing what you love. And so you guys are the front line of this weed thing.
Good morning, and we are back with another episode of the BAKERCAST official product review with Remedy Cultivation. Own your remedy, remedyyourself.com. Nevada's finest cannabis products. We're going to tell you why. Sour Diesel, hands down, is the #1 all-time favorite strain in my book, and I feel like there won't be another strain that I'll ever experience that will take me back to a time and place. It means so much to my green heart over here. And so, as you may know, Sour Diesel, the Chem 91, the Super Skunk, check out our past interview with AJ Sour Diesel. Check it out on BAKERCAST.com. We're going to give you the opportunity to go back now after hearing this and kind of dig in a little bit. But let's see what this looks like, because first and foremost, anytime I've ever had this sauce from Silver Sage Wellness and Remedy Cultivation, it is absolutely sexy. So, yep. They do it right. They do it right every time. Let's talk terps here, because these are some of my favorite. Okay, if I'm gonna tell you this is my favorite strain, I should probably be able to rattle off the terps in there. I already know Carefully and Mercy and Lemonine, but now look at the percentages that are in there. 13.72 milligrams per gram of Lemonine. And so let's see at let's take a look at what the effects are good for anti-anxiety, stress relief, antidepressant, anti-inflammatory, pain relief, and relieves nausea. And it's more of a citrus aroma and flavor. Mercing, as we discussed in our past product review with the Resurrection OG, you know, that Mercing came in at a spectacularly high number at 43 milligrams per gram of Mercing. Also in sour diesel, this comes in at 8. So the effects, that anti-inflammatory, the muscle relaxant, pain relief, sedative, also a pain relief, and musky aroma and flavor. And then last but not least, the Carefoline coming in at 9.64. Also anti-anxiety, antidepressant, anti-inflammatory, and pain relief with a peppery aroma and flavor. So when you mix, you know, the peppery, the musky, and the citrus together, you kind of get a diesel. You kind of get a smell of funk. That's something that we just wanted to bring to your attention, that, you know, shop for your terps. And so we have to try this. So now that we had broke down a little bit about sour diesel, and we're going to give you a chance now, go back and listen to the AJ Sour Diesel interview. Get that knowledge. Get blessed up. Shout out to AJ. Shout out to everything you do, my man. Much respect, much love. You know that sound? Well, if you don't, you're going to get schooled. That's the honey badger. And the honey badger is our premier way to smoke a hash rice. Cheers.
This is the BAKERCAST. Be on the lookout for the new Jerome Baker Cannabis.
Again, exhaling like a skunk. Just love the taste of sour diesel. And so if you had the opportunity to see their live resin sauce, we want to thank you for joining us for another product review right from the BAKERCAST. Just bringing attention to these different strains that they have available and bringing some attention to these different terps. Digging in a little bit about what those terps do for you and what those aromas and flavors are, you know, because that's super important in knowing that. If, you know, you're a customer, it's super helpful to know this for when you're shopping for your terps. And, you know, it's just good to do your own research and dig in and do some experimenting and find out which terps actually work best for you, because to my understanding, not all of them work best for everybody. And you might find out that CBD is something that you want a little bit more. And if you know, maybe you find out THC gets you too high, but, you know, CBD doesn't get you high at all. Maybe you want that for more of the stress and the pain relief and the anti-inflammatory properties that it does give you. If you do need any CBD, hit us up.
Make sure to check out aquadelics.com. That's right, Jammin on Maui. So now a little bit about tie-dye. So when looking at nature or art, it is fun to project our inspirations of different aspects of the way we choose to live our lives, especially by the clothing options we choose to wear. Now, based on our emotions and moods of our being, representing the way of ourselves and the nature of the earth connected through vibrant colors of our ancient people, as they did before us. So each one of these suits that has been tie-dye has been originally created by a design from a tie-dye artist. Now, once the sacred fabric art has been set for 24 hours and washed out 3 times, its picture is taken with the highest resolution camera in the studio. Now, the dye sub-process of heat transferring into synthetic water-resistant fabric then begins. Tattooing the white fabric, the colors come to life, leaving us with an enjoyable piece of freedom to express ourselves through living color. Now, that was a little bit more about the dye and sub-printing process at aquadelics.com. That's right, Jammin on Maui. This is the BAKERCAST.
Right now, ladies and gentlemen, we bring you something new and more. We bring you
the BAKERCAST.
Fuckers! Yeah! What weed you smoke? All kinds of weed. Indica, Outica, Indo, outdoor, fucking sativa, hybrid. Shit, all of it. In fact, I got some, what is this one? Some little bit of, outdoor cheeseberry love or some shit like that, you know?
This is the BakerCast, the official Jerome Baker podcast on JeromeBaker.com. We're here at the Dream Factory.
Today we are on the line with AJ, the man behind the legendary plant, Sour Diesel. How are you doing tonight?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
Can't complain. So this is the BakerCast, the official Jerome Baker podcast. So just curious, how did you first get introduced to Jerome Baker?
Well, I don't remember how I first got introduced to Jerome Baker, but I met Jason Harris, I guess, long before Jerome Baker, and I believe we met at Grateful Dead show.
Oh, wow. Now, how did you first get into growing cannabis?
I lived in New York City, and I wanted a steady supply of good cannabis, and so that was the logical conclusion.
Sure, just decided to grow your own. Now, how did Sour Diesel officially come to be?
Sour Diesel was a bag seed that was conceived in Staten Island and ended up being planted in upstate New York.
Now, is it true that the bag seed was from some Chem 91?
It was from Chem 91, and yeah, there's a lot of discrepancy about who the father was. I personally think it was the Super Skunk from Sensi Seed, but other people have their own ideas.
Guess I'll just kind of always remain a mystery. Now, I've heard people did some wild things to get their hands on that true Sour Diesel. What are some of the crazier things you've heard people do to get that back in the late 90s?
Well, my apartment was burglarized in the late 90s by clone thieves. That's about the craziest thing that happened to me.
Sure.
I'm sure a lot of crazy things happened.
Right, because I heard that's how the name Sour Diesel kind of came to be, that it kind of soured a lot of relationships due to people trying to get those genetics.
Yeah, it made people sour when they couldn't get it anymore.
Sure. Now, what are some of your thoughts on all the counterfeit weed that got passed off as Sour Diesel over the years? How important is kind of the strain name to the experience?
It bothers me more now. It doesn't really bother me, but it bothers me more now than it did then, because, back then, there was really nothing else around it that compared to what we were doing. So, imitation and flattery,
No, absolutely.
Now it feels weird if I look and I see, my name on a menu at the store, and I have nothing to do with it. So, it's odd. And also, I get comments on my Instagram, from people saying, that's not real sour. That doesn't look anything like this. Not sour, because, they don't know what it really looks like.
Right, no, absolutely. And I've heard you've been working on tissue culture and genostapping. That's a pretty new frontier. Can you speak about that?
Well, I'm not personally working on that. I'm interested in it, and I see I'm actually happy to see a lot of people have taken it up. I had an idea that I pitched around, a couple of years ago that pertained to strain banking and all that. I haven't done any work with it myself.
Sure. And do you ever play music for your plants?
Absolutely, classical music.
Oh, really? What are some of your favorite composers to play?
Well, I like Mozart, but usually just to have a steady supply, I just set FM receiver to the local classical station, and I just let it play.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, what are some of your thoughts on labeling cannabis as either indica or sativa? Do you think that's an accurate way to describe cannabis when shopping at a dispensary?
So, I'm sure you could get more specific, but for me, I like it because, for me, there's a clear definition between the two, and I have my own, my preconceived notions of what each thing is. Just if you tell me, hey, we're going to smoke a sativa, then I would agree with you, even if you did, I would call that a sativa, even if you did not. So, yeah, I like it, I use it as a way to categorize things in my own mind.
And, Sour Diesel is notoriously difficult to grow. How important is the growing method to the end result, and what were some of your kind of preferred growing techniques?
I charge a lot of money for that, but for that information. But
Sure.
I mean, of course, yeah. There, you can give it to 10 people, and you'll get 10 different things. it's all about dialing it in to get that one, desired outcome that you're looking for. Whether if you want yield, you can dial it in that way.
Mm-hmm.
If you want smell and taste, you dial it in that way.
Sure.
And that's the direction that I've always tried to go in. I've heard other people say, "Oh, I love sour; it's a great yielder." It never worked out that way for me, but you probably have some other way that works for you.
No, absolutely. And now that cannabis is in the process of becoming legalized worldwide, growing your own is now more popular than ever. Do you have any basic advice for a brand new grower out there?
Don't name your genetics off, anything that's already trademarked, because it's a huge headache down the road.
Awesome. And did you ever think the cannabis industry would get to the place where it is today?
No, certainly not. No.
No, never thought you'd just be able to walk into a store and have a huge selection of strains to choose from?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still looking for a store that has a huge selection of good things to choose from, but I never thought that there would be any such store.
Sure. And when do you think cannabis will be legalized federally? Do you think we'll be waiting a few more years?
Who knows? I can't say it because I wouldn't have predicted any of this.
Sure, absolutely. Any plans for your future?
Any plans for the future? Well, I'm working on the craft project in Long Beach at the moment.
All right.
And I'm working on some genetics projects in my personal life, and that's it. I don't have any grand plans, but I'm open to some.
Nice.
If anybody out there has any for me.
No, absolutely. Any shout-outs on the Jerome Baker podcast here tonight?
Shout out to Jerome Baker. How's that guy doing?
Well, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and chatting here with us. It was really awesome to be able to hear a little bit of that story of how one of these legendary strains came to be.
Oh, my pleasure.
Absolutely. I hope you have an excellent rest of your night.
You too. Thanks, man. Take care.
This is the BakerCast. I'm Adam Stellar. Stay tuned. Stay baked. Hear our past podcast content at JeromeBaker.shop. Did you try the new Jerome Baker Cannabis yet? Shout out to Errl Hill Labs and LBD Distribution.
What a blessing it is, I saw you go up and down, now you're doing what you love, and so you guys are the front line of this weed thing.
Warning, please keep out of reach of children, and for use by adults 21 years of age and older.
This is the BakerCast, the official Jerome Baker podcast. I'm Adam Stellar. Stay tuned. Stay baked. Hear our past content at JeromeBaker.shop. Did you try the new Jerome Baker Cannabis yet?
I want to tell you, I believe the aliens came down many years ago and infected some monkeys and made us all. We all came from different places, and because of that, different things might get us high.
Jason Harris here is the 7th apprentice of Bob Snodgrass, and Bob Snodgrass says,
Sometimes I feel like I'm channeling energy, and what I produce are the keys to the spaceship.
Yeah, the pipe that you make is a key to the spaceship for somebody to get into. So,
this is the BakerCast. I'm Adam Stellar. Stay tuned, stay baked. Make sure to check out the new Jerome Baker Cannabis. JeromeBaker.shop.
Think about it like this, bro. It's a tool to get high. So when you smoke through this thing, you get inspired. It changes your head work. And so I help develop that piece that you got high with, so I have a connection to you somehow. So that's that. I love it. I love it.
Good morning. First bong here of the day, of course, Sour Diesel.
And we're here with Hugh Glass, an OG, a legend since the early 90s, behind the torch, and we're going to break down the history of Hugh Glass on the BakerCast, the official Jerome Baker podcast. Tell us about the legendary Hugh Glass studio, and how did that come into fruition?
I decided to become what I thought was a little bit of a craftsman or an artist back when I was 19, and I had a good friend, Bob Snodgrass, who was making beautiful glass pipes, and so I decided that was definitely a career that I thought would be a fun thing to do. And so I just kind of put two and two together. I had met Bob from Dead Tour, and he was living in Eugene, and I was looking for something unique to do, and it fit into my lifestyle really nice. And so I started blowing glass, and within about a year, I started a company, Hugh Glass.
Wow. And so you were the first apprentice to Bob Snodgrass. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, I am the first official apprentice in Bob Snodgrass, even though back in the day I never asked to apprentice him. I just would actually get him pretty baked and get him distracted, and then I'd go play on the torch. And after a while, then sometimes I'd ask questions, and he sometimes would answer them, and sometimes he'd say, read the book. And at the time, it was the Homer Hoyt book, Homer Hoyt glass blowing book.
Okay.
And it took me about a year to really get enough to where I was pretty confident about what I was doing. That's why I started my company in 1991. I started in 1990 blowing glass with Bob. I got Bob to move to Eugene in 1990 because he was looking for somewhere to settle down. His daughter wanted to go to school starting from the fall, going into the spring, like a normal school year. And he was going to move to Ashland, Oregon, and I talked him into moving to Eugene, Oregon, because it was just a bigger town, and I was here, and I was able to help him out if he needed some help financially or just whatever.
Yeah.
And that's how that all went into place. And I basically started blowing glass until I found something else I wanted to do in life. And according to my wife, she's still waiting for me to get a real job. But I've been doing it now for 29 years, and it's been better and better every year.
Yeah, you've been absolutely killing it. Can you elaborate on some of the other apprentices that were there with the School of Snodgrass?
Because I was the first, my second apprentice was a person named Cameron Tower, and he worked in my studio with me that was just a couple of blocks away from Bob in Glenwood, Oregon. And I moved up to Portland in August of '93, and Cameron started working with Bob then, as far as I know. And he was the second apprentice, and then there was a bunch after him, or not a bunch, I think there was originally 13. But I didn't know, I mean, I met them as they came around, but I was actually in Portland, so I'm not sure exactly what the numbers were. I looked at the list earlier today, and I couldn't really tell you who was actually 3, 4, 5. I mean, I was told that Jason was number 7, so
absolutely.
I know that Bob Matram was living next to Cameron Tower in his duplex, and so that's where he came from.
Wow.
And I don't honestly know who would be number 3 and 4.
Yeah. And so Eugene, Oregon was a staple because also, the quality of cannabis around there. They had the best quality cannabis, so a lot of people went to test some of that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's actually what I told Bob was that the cannabis was much better in Eugene than anywhere else that I had been, and that that he wanted to move to Ashland, Oregon, and Ashland was a nice place, but it's really small. There's really no rentals there, and so he had a better opportunity here. And still to this day, I travel around the country, and Eugene still has, I believe, as good a cannabis as anywhere else in the world that I have ever been. Quite honestly, I don't want to say better because that might be fighting words, but at least as good as anywhere else.
No, I think I definitely agree with you there. So, can you tell our listeners what you exactly specialize in? We understand that you mastered the craft of the functional glass art, marbles, and wearables.
Mainly, I'm known for my dry pieces, my hammer pipes, my chillums, and my side bowls are what my big passion is. There's a train going by here. I'm probably close to the track, so it might get a little noisy.
Rad. The official Hugh Glass studio.
Yeah, it's actually, I share a studio with Mike Philpott, and it's known as the Philpott Studio, just because it makes it easier that way. But yeah, this is officially where I reside in Eugene.
We understand you also teach lamp working, at multiple places, the Corning Museum of Glass, the Glass Craft Expo, the Eugene Glass School, and multiple other personal studios. What inspired you to become a glass teacher?
To give back, what it has done for my life, I dropped out of high school to go on Grateful Dead tour, and the glass has afforded me to be a very productive member of society. Actually someone people respect, and so I want to be able to give that opportunity to other people who might not fit into the mainstream model of what is expected of them. Glasses made it so I was able to be my own boss my whole career and really enjoy what I do. And I know that about 90% of the people I meet don't get to do what they want to do for a living and don't enjoy what they do as a career. And so I want to give that opportunity to people who want to take that chance to become, a glass blower. And it's the best way is to give back. And there's also some Chinese proverb that says, I believe, not necessarily a Chinese proverb, but if you teach the next generation how to do what you do, then you have a job for the next 25 years. Also, I learned from my elders, and that's how I got my start, and that would be from Bob Snodgrass. And the other person I worked with is Sue Ellen Fowler, who is also a generation older than I am, who has a lot of knowledge also in glass. And so I just am trying to keep this tradition going as far as opening the doors for other people.
Warning, please keep out of reach of children, and for use by adults 21 years of age and older.
This is the BAKERCAST. We want to give a shout out to Josh Young. Make sure to check out the interview with him. Shout out to Earth Green, Lion's Pride Genetics, of course, cultivators of the Jerome Baker Cannabis. Stay tuned, stay baked. This is the BAKERCAST. I'm Adam Stellar. Check us out, JeromeBaker.shop. Have you tried the new Jerome Baker Cannabis yet? Merida Capital Holdings is a private equity firm targeting fundamental growth drivers underpinning the rapid development of the cannabis industry. Our investment emphasis focuses on cultivation technologies, products, and services associated with the evolution of cannabis as an agricultural product, a natural healing-based medicine, and constitute for pharmaceutical formulations and a recreational consumer product. Merida Capital Holdings seeks to invest in companies that successfully transition from startup to revenue-generating growth companies. We work to accelerate proven operating models, supercharge the growth of their commercial pipeline by identifying essential providers. With strong management teams, we can anticipate where enterprise-level or large industrial providers in non-related cannabis fields will look to find growth. How? In their core businesses through acquisition or investment. This is the BAKERCAST, the official Jerome Baker podcast on JeromeBaker.shop.